Hello everyone, my name is Roya and today I am here to tell you about my terrible experience with Airbnb. So if you don't know, Airbnb is a website that basically people who have a room in their house that they don't necessarily want to rent out, but they would rather rent to guests or like people staying in town for a day or two or whatever. And then those people don't have to spend like huge chunks of money on a hotel, they can stay at someone's house and whatnot. So basically the only two other times I'd used an Airbnb were both in LA, and both of them were actually not at people's houses. They were like hostel type places with like bunk beds and whatnot, so it was completely different. So when I went to Book Expo in New York in May, that was actually my first time staying in an Airbnb that was actually someone's house. So because obviously in New York they don't have places that are like huge hostel type places in somebody's like dwelling, basically. So now we get on to the terrible experience I had. So actually, during my stay, it wasn't that bad. So the person was actually very nice and very flexible with my check-in time because my flight was so delayed. I didn't get there till 3 in the morning. I felt so bad, but they were so nice about it, all kinds of things. And so staying there was not that bad. The only thing that I didn't like while staying there really was the fact that since the state of New York is cracking down on people who have Airbnbs, so I was constantly reminded by this person, don't mention Airbnb to anybody in the building, blah-de-blah-de, because it was an apartment building, obviously, because it's New York. And so I just kind of felt like that was very sketch. And it gave me this feeling like, well, this is kind of crappy that they're not allowed to like have an Airbnb here, but like, what if they get in trouble while I'm here? And actually, the funny thing is that this person was not the original host on the listing when I first booked it for my trip, because I booked it like 3 months in advance. And the chick who was the host before had really good reviews. None of the reviews said anything about not being allowed to have an Airbnb there or anything like that. But looking at the reviews now, this dude who she basically must have hired to be the person like living there, because she's not living there anymore. But she still is on the listing. It just says both of their names instead. Like he was getting significantly less good reviews because a lot more of the people are mentioning things like the fact that he kept saying don't mention Airbnb to people in building, blah 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 blah. But really that was the only thing that was bad about it while I was actually staying there. So what the worst of it happened actually after I left. So after I left at like in the middle of the night because I had a really early flight in the morning. So I left for the airport and the person texts me and says, can you give me a 5-star review? I really need it. I'm a book reviewer. I don't just give out 5 stars, okay? Like, I only give 5 stars to things that were absolutely perfect, nothing wrong. So, and the fact that, you know, they had this whole sketchy attitude of, like, don't mention Airbnb while you're here, blah-de-blah. So I didn't answer that text because I didn't want to say, sorry, but I'm not going to give you a 5-star review because of this or anything like that. I just didn't respond. And it was like 3 in the morning. So I was like, whatever. So that later that day, he texted me 2 more times and I just still don't respond. I just ignore it. And I wasn't planning to leave a review until Monday when I would have time because the whole rest of the weekend I was so tired from my trip. I was really like busy as well. And then Sunday evening, I'm at the vet with my dog and suddenly this dude just blows up my phone with texts, like text after text about that I'm so ungrateful. And he just kept calling me ungrateful and blah de blah and just being really rude about it. And I'm just like, dude, I'm going to leave a review. I just haven't had time yet. Leave me alone, basically. But he just kept texting me rude ass stuff and just like being like, well, how was I supposed to know you had gotten my messages? The civilized thing to do is respond to my text and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, a text asking for a 5-star review does not warrant a response no matter who you are. So whatever. My husband was very angry at him as well because and my husband even said, you shouldn't even have had to deal with that guy again. Why is he texting you rude things? And so while I was waiting at the vet with my dog, I decided, you know what? I'm going to leave a review now. So I left a review and I mentioned the texts, and really they're not supposed to see, like, both parties, the host and the guest, are not supposed to see each other's reviews or anything until both of them are publicly posted. But he saw my review somehow, even though it wasn't posted anywhere. I don't know how he was able to see it like that, but suddenly I get a huge onslaught of more rude texts, and he's like calling me evil and ungrateful and saying, why did you write that review, blah 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 blah, and I just blocked his number. So fast forward to 2 weeks later, when both reviews are posted publicly on each other's pages, and the review that he left me was a really horrible review full of complete lies that are in no way, they're not even an exaggeration, they are just completely a fabrication. Like, it's not even true at all. He said on my page that that I was extremely problematic and reckless, and that I disturbed other guests, and that I was very unthankful, when actually I was nothing but polite the entire time. I never even spoke to another guest with the exception of one time, when I had to let her in because the door was not working that day. And so she got stuck outside because her key wouldn't work. So I let her in, and that's the only time I spoke to another guest who was staying there. And they had at least 3 people there at a time. And I never even saw the same person twice, to be completely honest. And so let alone exchanged words with any of them or disturbed any of them. So it is just a complete untruth. And so he ended his review of me in all caps, saying, absolutely do not host. And I just think that's so crappy. He had to lie to write a bad review of me, as if it wasn't already bad enough that he harassed me over text message. And then also Airbnb support was no help at all, because technically the reviews, the review doesn't really go against the guidelines, when I'm pretty sure that a review that's an outright fabrication completely doesn't, there has to be some rule that's breaking, I'm pretty sure, because they do have rules against extortion and whatnot. So I don't think I'm going to be using Airbnb anymore, with the exception of the place I stayed at Y'all West this year in LA, which was one of the hostel type places. If that place is still there operating an Airbnb page and whatnot, I'll stay there again. But other than that, I'm not going to use Airbnb anymore. If I go back to New York for BEA next year, I'm going to just, use hostelworld.com or Couchsurfing maybe. Or honestly, even just shelling out the extra money for a hotel is probably better than getting harassed over text message. So anyway, that was my terrible Airbnb experience. I'm not gonna post the link to the place that it was or anything like that, or name names or any of that, because first of all, my legal name is on my review. So on Airbnb, my legal first name is my name on there, and I think that's kind of awkward. And then also just, I don't know, if you're going to New York and you want to make sure that you're not picking that place, just let me know. I'm on Twitter, I'm on email. Just ask me, is this that place? And I'll confirm yes or no, but I'm not going to post the link. But anyway, if you have any terrible experiences staying anywhere, whether it's from Airbnb or somewhere else, please let me know. If you've ever used Hostelworld or Couchsurfing, please let me know, because I would love to hear some testimonials about that, because I've never used either. So thank you guys for listening to my ranty story here, and have a great rest of your day. I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!